12 is nearly here. Playoff chaos incoming. Let's break it down. This is the Nitro College Football Show. I'm Burl.
And I'm Streit.
Like and subscribe if you love college football. Otherwise, what are you doing? Week 12, we got some great matchups coming up. We got a big one in Athens. Texas rolls in to face Georgia. Texas is looking much better the past few weeks, at least on the offensive side, than they've looked all season.
Yeah. So here's my initial thoughts. If you paid attention to any national media, and everybody's been previewing this game this week, they keep talking about, oh, Texas is, it's really getting it together. They're playing so much better. Da 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 da. Can you not say the exact same thing for Georgia? Have they not been getting better on the defensive side of the ball? Have they not been improving on the offensive side of the ball? Like, everybody's so quick to point out that Texas is playing better, and that's because they were not as good. Georgia's playing better too, and as you would expect with teams that are this talented, as they go through the season and they get more experience and they play together, they get better. That's what they do.
Yeah, and Georgia is absolutely getting better each week. The defense was amazing against Mississippi State. It's the best that they've looked all year long outside of that first drive.
Yeah. Well, and then the backups in at the end of the game when it was literally everybody off the bench. But
yeah, like the people that are out there, like truly, starters and in that rotation, awesome. I mean, couldn't ask for much more.
Yeah. So the other thing that everybody's talking about in this game is Texas has this amazing defense, right? That's all anybody ever talking about, right?
Yep.
Texas is 95th in the country against the pass. 95th. Yeah, they're second in the country against the rush. But they're 95th in the country against the pass. You can absolutely get this team in the pass game.
Well, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, but everybody's talking trash about Georgia. Georgia's 58th in the country in pass defense.
Yeah, and I would say Georgia's vastly improved from where they were at the beginning of the season.
Right.
The secondary, even with the injuries, I mean, the guys playing corner, they're the ones that really needed to grow up over, these past weeks. And I think we're actually seeing that, and we're starting to see a really good rotation there. The safety play has been really good, other than some targeting or almost targeting penalties.
I mean, yeah, other than targeting penalties, the pass interferences have continued to be a problem, though at least one of them last week was actually a really smart play.
It was a very smart play.
KJ Bolden got
Absolutely.
burned.
It was brilliant because he was burnt, and if he does not do that, it's a touchdown.
Yeah. So Texas does have a very good defense. They have stars at all the levels in their defense, and we knew that coming in. Colin Simmons is probably the best one of the best defensive players in the country. He's got 8 sacks. Anthony Hill is an amazing linebacker. And then their secondary is getting better. Michael Taff is back this week. He's been out. So he's, one of their captains on defense. And Malik Muhammad missed some games earlier in the year. He's back too. He had 2 picks against Oklahoma. He's been back. So on the defensive side for Texas, they are actually probably the healthiest they've been all season long. And their defense has kept up and been good, but 95th against the country in pass. I keep coming back to it. Like that's not good. There's not any way
that's a really good matchup for Georgia.
Yeah.
That is a really good matchup because Gunnar Stockton has been as accurate and reliable as anybody in the country. I mean, he's got the number 1, number 2 QBR in the country still.
Number 1 pass completion percentage in the SEC.
Yeah.
And I mean, and comparable on the Georgia side, it's not like Georgia's some slash against the rush. They're 12th in the country. So it's not like, Georgia's got a better pass defense, but, Texas just kills them on the rush side. Texas is not a rushing team this year. They just aren't. They're not very good on offense running the ball. So they are 94th in the country running the ball. So
they have been better the past few weeks with Trey Wisner getting healthy.
yeah, but still, this is not a game where, I mean, if you want to look at it that way, Texas's weakness is their rush game, while Georgia's strength is their rush defense. So there's an area where
Absolutely.
Georgia is not really going to be able to take advantage of it that much. But I think the one thing that Georgia can take advantage of is Arch Manning.
Yeah, it depends on which Arch Manning shows up, right? I think what we've seen the past few weeks, he's been playing better,
Much
but
better, but
a lot of the like last week, a lot of those yards came off of Ryan Wingo, like 70 yards on a screen pass.
yeah, I mean,
Not that, you know,
well, you
I
got
mean
to
Gunnar Stockton does the same thing with Zachariah Branch.
right, absolutely. I mean, he's Arch has looked much better. He's won what? He's got like 700 yards in the last 2 games. He's thrown for 6
Yes.
touchdowns in the last 2 games. But also remember that one of those games was a game where they were fighting to come back in the 4th quarter, so they were doing nothing but passing. So you're going to inflate
Against Mississippi State.
against Mississippi State, who obviously the Georgia offense torched for a billion yards, for almost 600 yards, 300 yards on the ground. So yes, it's better, but it's also inflated a little bit. I think the key for Georgia here, we know that Georgia doesn't get much pressure on the quarterback. They've got 11 sacks on the year. They're one of the last, one of the last teams in the country at getting sacks. But what you did see last week against Mississippi State was Georgia finally use its linebackers because they realized that the defensive line, rushing the 3 guys on the defensive line ain't getting it done. So they
Right.
started using C.J. Allen and Raylan Wilson more and really, really put a lot of pressure on Blake Shapen, who Blake Shapen is in a similar vein as Arch Manning, is a, is a pocket passer. Now Arch Manning can run, he's athletic, but proven early in the year when teams got pressure on him, he panicked a little bit. And that's when he had bad mechanics, when he threw off his back foot, when he was throwing interceptions. So if Georgia can get pressure on Arch Manning and force him into bad Arch, not good Arch, they can easily win this game, going away.
Yeah, and if you want to look at like how each team has played or compared against common opponents, Texas lost to Florida, Georgia beat Florida. Texas had to scrap and come from behind against Mississippi State. Georgia blew Mississippi State out. They Texas had a really tight one in the throes of Kroger Field against Kentucky. Georgia blew out Kentucky.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah. So you look at comparables like that. There's a reason that Georgia's favored by 6 points coming into this game. And I think that's why. Now, one thing I think that could be a factor in this game that we don't talk a lot about is special teams. Ryan
Yes.
Niblett for Texas has been a difference maker for them. He's essentially the reason that they won 2 games. The reason that
he's the reason they came back against Mississippi State.
Right. But he also had a punt return against Oklahoma too for a touchdown. So he's got 2 punt returns for touchdowns. Their kicking game, we all remember last year that their kicking game was atrocious. Bert Auburn was their kicker last year, and he was bad. And he kept missing field goals. He missed some in the SEC championship game. He missed some in their playoff.
His name just cracks me up.
Yeah. So he's not on the team anymore. Mason Shipley has done a much better job as their kicker this year. I think he's like 14 out of 17, something like that. So they're a lot more reliable. But on the flip side, you've got a Georgia kicking duo that is awesome. Peyton Woodring's only missed 1 field goal this year. He's 12 of 13. Brett Thorson is one of the best punters in the country, exception being that shank job he had against Florida. But, so special teams could play a part here. I think every time you have a chance to score in this game, you need to score. So that means don't be risky. Take field goals when you can. Get touchdowns when you can, because I think every little point's going to end up mattering in the end of this game.
Yeah, I mean, if the past 2 games against Texas has proven anything, that's exactly how it's gone. You got to take the points are at a premium. If you settle for a field goal, fine. Settle for a field goal.
Yeah.
Take what you can get.
Yep.
But I am excited for this game. I think I actually think that I'm shocked that it's only 6 points. Is, is that is that s- is that arrogant?
No, no, not at all. I mean, I, Georgia has, like I said, their only loss was by 3 points to Alabama. They haven't lost anybody that they should have lost to. Alabama is number 4 in the country. Um, Texas, yes, they lost at Ohio State that first game of the year, but that was on the road. That's against an Ohio State team that has proven to have one of the best defenses we've seen in years. So both teams are getting better. Texas has played a lot better, but I think, yeah, the spread only being 6, it's a little bit more of a, hey, this is Texas played better, so they're living up to their potential, and less, oh, well, we've also seen the flaws in Texas, right?
Right. Yep. Yep. So who you got?
So I think this is a game where, like I said, I think teams are going to score. These are good defenses, but I think offenses are going to be able to find their way. Particularly, both have some deficiencies in the pass defense side. So I think both teams are going to be able to pass the ball. But I think the difference is Georgia's ability to run, whereas I don't think Texas is going to be able to run or really will try to that much. I think if Georgia shuts them down, they're just going to abandon it, which is kind of what they've done the last year in both games that we played them, where they had like 35 yards in one game and like 60 in the other. Like they just basically gave up on the run game, and I think that's probably what's going to happen again. Um, Georgia at home is an advantage. Georgia's got the momentum, and Georgia continues to find a way to win late in games. That's what they've done all season. So it's going to be close, but I think Georgia wins. Give me Georgia 34, Texas 27.
That is close. I am much more optimistic. I really liked what I saw against Mississippi State. I think Georgia, the offense has grown up together over this year. The offensive line is playing exponentially better than it did last year, and that was with what, 4 draft picks.
Right.
So Georgia can run the ball. We now have 2 explosive running backs that, Nate Frazier had his big coming out game last week where he just dominated. We've seen what Chauncey Bowens can do. We know what Gunner can do with the ball in his hands. So I think we're going to get a heavy dose of run. I would expect to see some more passes to Elias Williams.
Yeah, especially
If the
if Lucky's not playing, which
Yeah,
I heard. I mean, from what I saw, he was still in protocol, so he'll be a game time question.
yeah, and as always, we'll see a heavy dose of Zachariah Branch on the defensive side. 100% agree. Georgia's run defense is top notch, so running the ball is going to be very tough for Texas. They are going to have to get their guys Ryan Wingo, Niblett out there vertical against our young secondary in order to stand a chance. And I think the secondary has just come along so much better than where they were, say, against like Tennessee, even Alabama. So give me Georgia 27, Texas 17.
All right, all right, all right.
Yeah, you think McConaughey will be there this time?
Probably, I'm sure. Though
Does
Glenn
he
Powell
does he
is not
travel?
going to be there. Why? I don't know why he wouldn't. What else he's got to do? Seems to be
I
there
don't
all
know.
the time.
Fair enough. All right. Interesting matchup of number 9 Notre Dame traveling to number 22 Pitt, and interesting comments from Pat Narduzzi this week, saying he was asked if this was a must-win game for Pitt, and he said, "Absolutely not. Is Notre Dame in the ACC? Then no."
Yeah,
As long as we win our next 2 games, that's all he worries about.
I mean, what he says is the truth, but Do
It's
you say
100% the
that?
truth.
But do you say that's like with your team and your fan base watching?
No.
This game, it's Pittsburgh versus Notre Dame, right? It screams 1970s steel mill. Like guys get the steel mill all coming home. Like I picture, the Rudy's family in the movie Rudy, and then all the guys in Pittsburgh. But since they lost to Miami and Texas A&M to open the season, Notre Dame has looked like a different team. They've looked like the team that we thought they would be. Building on the success of last year, CJ Carr has proven to be the right choice at quarterback. He's really, really coming into his own, starting to play really well. And the running back duo of Love and Price continues to be fantastic. So Notre Dame is really, really cooking coming into this game. Now Pittsburgh.
Look at you, so Gen Z.
What?
Cooking.
What? Dude, you know me. I'm as far as from Gen Z as it gets.
Man, that's like the hippest thing you've ever said.
It probably is my whole life. But Pittsburgh, on the other side, now we talked about the rushing duo on Notre Dame side. Pittsburgh has a really, really good rushing defense. They're number 3 in the country. So the question is, can they slow that Notre Dame backfield down and force CJ Carr to beat him? Which, like I said, CJ Carr is playing better. They're not very good against the pass. They're in the 90s. So if that can, if that can happen, they can slow down the Notre Dame rushing attack, then they might stand a chance. Both of these teams score a lot of points. So
yeah, I mean, even if they do stop the run, I mean, CJ Carr's been really good all year. Like even in their losses, he struggled in his very first game, which is to be expected. But after that, he's been doing great.
Yeah. So Pittsburgh has a freshman quarterback who was not supposed to be the starter. Mason Heinchel is their quarterback, who has taken the starting job away from Eli Holstein, who was really good until he got hurt last year. Alabama transfer. He's playing well. And like I said, Pittsburgh can score now. Their defense, I talked about the bright spot of the rushing defense. They're the number 6 team in the country scoring. They're scoring a lot of points this year. But Notre Dame scores a lot too. They're number 9. So expect a lot of points in this game.
Well, it certainly will be interesting. Yeah, just looking at points per game, Notre Dame is in top 7 nationally. Yards per play, very, very, they're ranked very, very high, 7.4 yards per play. Pitt, like you said, they're top 15 points per game. So yeah, this could be a pretty high scoring game.
No, they're not top. They're 6th. That's what I said. They are 6th in the country in scoring points per game at 39.7 a game. And Notre Dame's 9th.
Most impressive.
Yeah, that's what I said. Did you not hear me say that?
No.
Oh, I just said just there you go. Notre Dame is 9th in the country in scoring at 38.7 points. So
gotcha.
These are top 10 scoring. They're not top 15. They're top 10, both of them. So, yeah. So like I said, lots of points. I think Notre Dame has just got it going right now. I think they're playing too well. So I think they're going to go and win. Give me Notre Dame 38, Pittsburgh 20.
Yeah, I'm with you. Similar vein. Notre Dame's been rolling. Their defense is, very, very good at forcing turnovers, just like they were last year. That's kind of their MO. And I don't know that it doesn't sound like Pitt is really getting up for this game. So
that's what she said.
Yes. So give me Notre Dame 31, Pittsburgh 17.
All right.
Another big one in the SEC, we got Oklahoma travels to Alabama. So this is a bit of a revenge game for Alabama.
Completely. Because they totally crapped the bed last year.
Yes, they did.
They looked like absolute garbage when they played in Norman last year, and it cost them a spot in the playoff.
It did. Absolutely. So I expect Alabama to come out with a vengeance.
Yeah. Alabama this year is an interesting team, right? They don't turn the ball over at all. Their defense is pretty good. Their pass game is awesome, but they are not good at running the football, which is so weird to say for an Alabama team.
Yeah, which might actually be this might be a great matchup for Oklahoma
Yeah.
because they're really good at sacking the quarterback, and if Alabama can't run the ball,
Right.
that's going to be a problem.
Now, Oklahoma has been so good at sacking the quarterback this year that I think that has skewed a lot of their rushing defense stats. They've got the number 4 rushing defense in the country, but they have so many sacks that like all those negative yards. Like Georgia has the number 12 rushing defense in the country, but has 11 sacks. Oklahoma's got like 30 something sacks. So there's a big difference there in terms of being a true good rushing defense versus a rushing defense that is really good at hitting the quarterback. Um, on the Oklahoma side, John Mateer, a little bit better each week. That thumb's getting better. Last week he had 80 yards rushing against Tennessee. Um, but he's never looked the same. And I don't know if going to play at Tuscaloosa is a place where you get yourself fully back.
No, you don't. um, absolutely, you don't. He's going to have the game of his life to make this
Yeah.
to even have a chance for Oklahoma to win this game.
He's gonna have to play like he did at the beginning of the season when they were beating Michigan and and teams like that.
Absolutely. I mean, he's going to have to play better than that. And
Yes.
the defense is going to have to play out of their minds because Ty Simpson has been playing out of his mind all
Right.
year. So it's just an interesting matchup of defense. Oklahoma's defense versus Alabama's pass game.
Yeah. So with that being said, opposite what I said about Notre Dame Pittsburgh, I think this is going to be a lower scoring game. Um, I think the difference is that Alabama does not turn the ball over at all. But since Mateer has come back, Oklahoma has been turning over the ball a lot more. And the reason that Alabama lost last year when they played in Oklahoma was that they turned the ball over and Oklahoma just ran it with Jackson Arnold. I think a little bit difference happens this year. I think they win the turnover battle. Give me Alabama 27, Oklahoma 14.
I like it. So for me, I think Bama's gonna roll, no pun intended. So I'm going with Alabama 30, Oklahoma 20. I expect Alabama to control the tempo, limit big plays, and ultimately win the turnover battle. Oklahoma's going to come in and put up a good fight, but with the game being in Tuscaloosa, it's really hard to win there. So give me Bama. All right. In the Big Ten, we have an interesting matchup here. Iowa goes cross country to face the USC Trojans.
In a game that we shall call defense versus offense.
Yeah, definitely a classic mismatch of styles.
To say the least.
Yeah.
Iowa is off that heartbreaking loss to Oregon. And if I can say one thing for him, at least the weather is probably going to be a lot better in Southern California this week than it was last week in Iowa.
Maybe. Yeah. Yeah, they got that awesome defense headed out to face this awesome offense. So it makes you wonder because Iowa this is a spoiler game for them. Like USC still is in the hunt to potentially get a playoff spot.
They absolutely are. And it's interesting because Iowa, while they have lost both of these games, They gave Oregon its best game of the season outside of Indiana, and they gave Indiana its best game of the season. So
Mhm.
they have given two high-powered offenses trouble this season. But USC's offense is really, really good too. And I playing at home with a lot to look forward to. This screams to me one of those Lincoln Riley games where his offense just clicks and they score a lot of points.
Yeah, but can the defense just enough?
Against Iowa, yes. Because Iowa is not good on offense. That's why.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, Iowa's identity is defense and special teams.
Right.
That's their thing.
Ironically,
So,
they lost because they fumbled a snap on a punt last week.
yes. But they could, you know, return some kicks. I know they got a good return guy. So that they got that going for them. I think USC lost a defensive lineman, actually a guy who transferred from Georgia. I think he got hurt and is out for the year.
Yeah, Jamal Jarrett.
Yeah, Jamal Jarrett.
Yeah. Like I said,
So
I just don't think Iowa's offense is going to score much. And even if they get stops, I think USC is just going to be too much for them. So give me USC big time. USC 30, Iowa 10.
yeah, I'm leaning to USC covering at home, but not necessarily blowing them out because Iowa's defense is really good, and Iowa's defense will keep it within reach. But I'm going USC 31, Iowa 17. And then there was Virginia at Duke. Huge, huge ACC championship implications.
Well,
I can't stress that enough.
you know, in our predictions the other night, you had Duke winning the ACC and making the playoff. But the interesting discussion that's been going around today is, what if Duke wins the ACC, but they are ranked behind James Madison and South Florida, and therefore the ACC doesn't make the playoffs at all? Because it absolutely could happen in that scenario.
It would be pretty hilarious.
Yeah. Or Miami makes it as an at-large by not playing in the conference championship. And oh my God, can you hear people's heads screaming if that happens?
I hope it does. That'd be. I want this. I want this.
That is Duke. Duke is the absolute agent of chaos in this college football season right now.
I'm here for it, man. I'm here for it.
Just to make everybody scream. So this game, it's, you know, Virginia lost to Wake Forest last week. Why? They couldn't even score a touchdown. They only kicked field goals. The question is whether they couldn't do anything after Chandler Morris got hurt, the quarterback, and there's a question if he's going to play or not. He got banged up. He's got kind of a shoulder, head injury, neck injury. I don't know if he plays or not in this game.
Yeah, it's it'll be interesting. I mean, will Virginia's offense show up?
Yeah.
That's a big piece.
Now Duke, their offense is pretty good. They score about 35 points a game. They spend a lot of money to go get Daria Mensah to play quarterback for them. You know, they've got some losses on the year. They got blown out pretty bad by Illinois. But they're sitting there with a chance to make the conference title game if they can run the table. So, you know, Duke is favored in this game. And I think, you know, like you were saying, I think they're going to probably be favored the rest of the way. So this is the last shot for Virginia to kind of stand back up for themselves, because Virginia, once again, is in a unique position. They've lost 2 games to ACC opponents, but they only have 1 loss in the ACC because one of those games was against NC State, and it was an out-of-conference game.
Phenomenal.
So Virginia has a shot to save its chance to make it to the ACC championship game. So with that being said, I'm going to go for the upset here. Give me Virginia 24, Duke 21.
I hear you. but I raise you. So, Virginia has owned this series the past 9 years. I think they've won 8 of the last 9. Uh, so that they've got that going for them. And but then you look at Duke, they have the home field advantage. They've got a really good quarterback. They have momentum. Should be a close game, but I'm going Duke. I'm riding with Duke. I want all the chaos. I want all the smoke. I want everything that comes along with this. Duke 28, Virginia 24.
All right. You are all about that chaos, man.
Absolutely, man. That's what makes college football great.
All right. Well, that was our big games for this week, but there are a couple of quick hitters that I thought would be fun to touch on. So, Burl, first one we got, UCLA goes to take on Ohio State. Nico going back to Columbus for the first time since the playoff game last year. Ohio State's a 31.5-point favorite. UCLA is really bad at scoring. They're 116th in the country. Obviously, Ohio State's the number 1 scoring defense in the country. So my first question to you is, does UCLA score 10 points in this game?
No.
No. Okay. My second question to you is
no, and I'll tell you why. Just look at the Indiana game.
Are we getting UCLA first games of the season or UCLA after firing the coach?
Well, I mean, they got trounced 56-6 against Indiana.
True.
And Indiana's got a really good defense, and I guess we'll see if apples to apples here.
Yeah.
If Ohio State does the same thing. Ohio State's going to try to keep them to 3.
Yeah. So here's my second fun question. Which is more, Nico interceptions / fumbles, so Nico turnovers, or Jeremiah Smith touchdowns?
That's a good one. That's a good one. I got to go with Nico interceptions.
Okay.
Just because Ohio State has too many weapons. Because they also got Tate, and I mean they got all kinds of things going on for them.
Though Jeremiah Smith has been getting it going lately. So Cornell Tate kind of been the primary a lot this season, but Smith's been getting it going lately. So, and plus Julian Sayans completing like 81% of his passes, and like with one or two interceptions. So Ohio State's going to score, and they ain't going to let them score. So they're going to have lots of opportunities to throw the ball.
Yeah. Does Ohio State outdo Indiana? Do they score 60?
No. Only because it's later in the season and they don't need to.
Yeah.
Indiana's always going to try to outscore you like that if they can. I think Kirk Cignetti leaves his starters in as long as he absolutely can.
Absolutely. Well, he absolutely does, because if you only play like 1 or 2 good teams a year, like you got to impress. And that's he's doing the right thing there.
Ohio State doesn't have to worry about that. So I don't think they will.
Yeah.
I think at this point, this juncture in the season, they know where they're headed. They know they've got Michigan at the end of the season. There's no reason to risk guys getting hurt. So I would say no, they don't. They get up big. They're up 38-0, something like that. Backups get in.
Yeah. Ohio State doesn't have anything to prove.
Right.
Like
not when you're defending champion, you're giving up 6 points a game or whatever they're giving up.
Exactly. I mean, they're just fine.
Yep. All right. And then my second quick hitter, and this is another important game for the national landscape, but TCU 6-3 goes to play number 12 BYU. So my question is, does BYU suffer a letdown after the bad loss last week to Texas Tech, where they simply just got strangled to death and couldn't move the ball at all? Do they let Texas Tech beat them twice and lose to TCU?
This is a very losable game for BYU.
Absolutely.
TCU has had some close ones this year. Let's look them up a little bit.
So TCU lost last week to Iowa State. But yeah, they lost by 3. They lost to Kansas State and
Yeah.
they lost to Arizona State by 3. So they kind of been up and down,
They did beat
but they are
SMU,
6 and 3.
if that means anything.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know. I think BYU handles them. It's at home, and
Okay.
they're still fighting for a playoff spot. They're still in the thick of everything.
Yep.
I w- it it would
Trying
be
to
a
get
bit of a
to
shock.
yeah. All right, man. Well, those were the only kind of fun ones I saw on the calendar this week. You got anything else? Any other thoughts headed into this weekend?
Uh, Big games in the SEC. I'm looking forward to the Georgia game, to Oklahoma, Alabama. Um, they have huge implications moving forward. If Oklahoma somehow upsets Alabama, that will cause a little bit of chaos.
Well, that would
If Texas beats Georgia, that could cause some chaos.
yeah. I think the ideal situation obviously for Georgia is win this weekend. Your SEC season is done. So, this is the last SEC game for Georgia. You are essentially, in the clubhouse at 7-1. Whether you make it to Atlanta or not, you probably at that point have punched your ticket to the playoffs, and it's just a question of seeding at that point. But 11-1, or even if they somehow explicitly lost to Tech, 10-2, but wins over Ole Miss, over Texas, over Tennessee is pretty strong resume. So
Yeah,
people are saying
and
that this game,
only a 3-point loss to Alabama.
right? People are saying this game means so much to Texas, and yes, if Texas loses, they're eliminated from the playoff. But this actually means a lot for Georgia too, because it just takes all the pressure off. So
It
Texas
really does.
Texas might have their backs against the wall, but Georgia kind of does too, because if they lose here, then they're a 2-loss team. They still got a tough game against Tech at the end of the season, so it's not
Yep,
easy, and they don't have
and
they're not in the position they were last year, where they knew they were going to play in the SEC championship and still have a chance to make it under that scenario.
right,
So
right, and playing Tech in a building that Georgia traditionally does not play well in against Alabama. I guess
I was about
everybody
to
else
say,
is pretty good. Yeah, everybody else they play pretty well.
yeah. All right, man. Well, another week. Till Sunday night when we're back with our Week 12 matchup. I'm Street.
I'm Burl.
Horns down. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.